everyone, Kate Reinl here from the Lake Superior National Estuarine Research Reserve to give you a sneak peek of our project, Synthesizing Long-term SWMP Datasets to quantify estuarine ecosystem dynamics and identify trends along an ecological gradient. This was a Catalyst project that was funded by the NERRS Science Collaborative and led by me, Paul Hansen at University of Wisconsin-Madison Center for Limnology, and Sylvia Yang at the Padilla Bay NERR. Reserves have many great core programs, but for this project, we're focused on the System-Wide Monitoring Program, or what we call SWMP. The motivation for SWMP is to understand short-term variability and long-term change in coastal ecosystems to inform coastal management. Each reserve has a minimum of 4 sites they monitor for water quality, meteorological data, and nutrients. As you can imagine, this is a lot of data. The SONs collect data for 7 water quality parameters every 15 minutes, 672 data points per day, 245,280 data points per year for one site. Multiply that times 4 locations and you have just under 1 million data points for just water quality at a single reserve. Collecting, processing, vetting, and publishing all of this data is a huge undertaking and often leaves reserves with a limited capacity to analyze the data to understand coastal systems and inform coastal management. That led to the development of a proposal to pilot a graduate-level class at University of Wisconsin-Madison to analyze SWMP data to answer specific science or management questions that reserves had. In our project, we worked with 12 reserves to develop the proposal, with 7 of the reserves being directly involved in the class and working with students to have their questions answered. There were 2 primary goals for this project. The first was to use SWMP data to identify and address management needs using a data-driven approach. And the second was to provide a high-quality training opportunity for graduate students that also creates a sustained mechanism for future SWMP analyses. Within this class, we had 2 further objectives. The first was to provide students with training for big ecological data skills, as these skills are being sought after more and more. And the second was to introduce them to doing collaborative user-integrated research using tools that were developed by the NERRS Science Collaborative. When we started developing this proposal, we quickly realized that just choosing a common set of parameters to be analyzed for all reserves was not going to work. Because the systems are so variable and unique, the importance of different environmental factors is also really variable, and so we built some flexibility into the process. Reserves could choose a combination of sites and parameters that added up to 5 analyses to answer science or management questions that were unique and relevant to their reserve. In addition to working through the analyses and collaborating with reserves, students had a 3-day field trip to the Lake Superior Reserve. The goal of this field trip was to step away from the analyses and spend time in an estuary to get a better understanding of what a reserve is and all the different programs that operate under one roof. This was a real highlight for a lot of the students, and many shared great reflections, and I'll share one here. I've been thinking a lot about what Mark told us and looking at the rock he gave me. I especially appreciate his point that even in the span of a whole lifetime, the knowledge we have in the end is incredibly small compared to all there is to know. That's important for me to keep in mind as a scientist who is constantly seeking new knowledge. Now that the class is wrapped up, we're happy to report that we were able to achieve our goals. We were successful in using SWMP data to identify and address management needs using a data-driven approach, and we were able to provide a high-quality training opportunity for graduate students that creates an opportunity for sustained mechanisms for future SWMP analyses. Additionally, when we asked students in participating reserves whether we should offer this class again, we got a unanimous yes. Thanks for checking out our sneak peek. Here's a QR code to our project page as well as contact information. Stay tuned for more on the project and opportunities for continued engagement.